That should be the end. However, in addition to the previous categories of awards that we have mentioned this afternoon, there is also a special President's Award that can be awarded by the President at her discretion, known as the President's Honorary Award. So I'll hand over to President Caroline Council to announce the recipient and say a few words, I guess, as to why she's chosen to award this Honorary Award this year.
Thanks, Ross. Thanks, Ross. The President's Honorary Award is a standout award. I have chosen this year's winner because in legal, humanitarian and professional terms, they achieved great things. I was recently in Dubai at the International Bar Association meeting, and one of the most informative sessions didn't happen in a lecture room. It happened around a lunch table, much like today. And there was a lawyer from Toronto. He was an IP lawyer. He said, let's face it, I joined this organisation to make money, to make connections. And I didn't believe in the humanitarian side of that which we lawyers are expected to do or do. However, I sat next to a woman who was from Turkey last year, and this woman explained to me that the government in Turkey was going to introduce the fact that women had to compulsorily wear the veil and that female lawyers may be threatened in terms of their ability to continue to be lawyers. At that point, he teared up and he said, from that day forward, I became a humanitarian lawyer. I became committed to making sure that we as a profession speak out on behalf of those that cannot and to shine a light on that which is wrong in our world. The President's Honorary Award for 2011 goes to the pro bono legal team for M70. The team members are Counsel Debbie Mortimer, SC, Richard Nile, SC, Kristen Walker, Elizabeth Bennett, Matthew Albert, the group from Allens, Arthur Robinson, Malcolm Stevens, Claire Forster, Rebecca Kelton and Tom Prince, and from the Refugee Immigration Legal Centre, David Mann, Shelley Birchfield, Malvina Hadgden and Adrian Anderson. The case of M70 and M106 is hugely significant. It was a stunning reminder of the ultimate authority of the rule of law in Australia. Whoever you are, and we know who you are, and wherever you are from, it showed the enormous good that is achieved by lawyers when they give of their time and their talents through pro bono work. And finally, the community saw the vital service that lawyers provide in upholding the rights of the powerlessness of people. This team underscored the continuing relevance of lawyers. Now I'd like to invite the team who is present and David Mann up to the podium to accept the award and to say a few words.
Two of us are going to speak, but just briefly, myself and Debbie. And the first thing that I'd like to say is that we're deeply honoured by the award. And I'd like to also start with the people, because it's about 3 months ago that just down the road on a early Saturday evening, as I was cooking, I got a distress call, and it was from 36 men from Afghanistan, from Pakistan, who were incarcerated on Christmas Island, who feared being expelled to Malaysia. And they conveyed that there were also some unaccompanied children who wanted legal help. The help they wanted was, in fact, and this was the brief, it was very simple, it was, from start to finish, whether they could challenge the planned expulsion by the government of them to Malaysia where they feared they'd be harmed, and secondly, was there any way that they could have their claims for refugee status considered in Australia instead of being expelled. That was the brief from start to finish. There was no conspiracy to change the law from them. There was no conspiracy to change the law from us, nor was there any conspiracy to change the law, as was unfortunately alleged by the court. In fact, what happened was that very quickly a legal team was assembled, many of whom are here today, an extraordinary group of people overnight got together pro bono, and I think it's legendary, I think, of the fee-charging endeavours of lawyers. I think less well known in society is the rich tradition of people acting pro bono in these types of matters. And may I say that it deeply matters that people do this and do it quickly, because when we got into court on Sunday evening, that is the next evening, led by Debbie, who will speak in a minute, we found how urgent the matter was. That in fact 16 of those men who'd called on Saturday evening were to be expelled the next morning to Malaysia. The court granted an injunction. The rest is history. There was a 6-1 majority which emphatically ruled that the planned expulsion to Malaysia was unlawful. The final thing that I just want to mention is this, and that is that just beyond the sound and the fury and the mischaracterisation of this case being somehow, if you like, a semi-trailer of social change, something radical or revolutionary, in fact, it was anything but that. What it really was a very conventional exercise of the rule of law in this country. People asked, as is quite normal and reasonable in this country, whether what the government proposed to do to them was lawful and within power. We as lawyers were asked to act on their behalf in relation to that matter, presenting it to a court, and the court discharged its function within several weeks by interpreting the law in light of the facts. And that's in fact what happened. No attempt, as has unfortunately been alleged, to change the law or to indeed miss an opportunity to break the people smugglers model, but rather a very conventional exercise of the rule of law. And those people who we acted for, including unaccompanied children, are still in Australia pursuing their cases and may well, we believe in many cases, be protected from the potential of future harm.
I'd like to say thank you very much to the Law Institute and to Caroline in particular. It's a great honour to receive an award like this. No case like this that gets brought in such urgent circumstances and brought to trial within 2 weeks after its initiation comes together without the efforts of a great many people. And there are 2 other people that I just wish to acknowledge and add to the list that Caroline mentioned. One is our colleague at the Sydney Bar, Craig Lenihan, who was also junior counsel in the case, and the other is a man called Simon Jackson, who's a lawyer in Canberra and who was the first lawyer who was the port of call for our clients in this case. But the marshalling of legal resources was extraordinary. Alan's Arthur Robinson deserves great credit for the way it committed over a weekend in particular to have a matter ready to bring before Justice Hayne at 6 p.m. on a Sunday night. The fine traditions of the Victorian Bar and the dedication of my colleagues to this kind of work were at the best exhibition that I've seen for a long time in the way that my colleagues threw themselves into this case, and the long-standing commitment that RILC has had to the disadvantaged people that it serves was on display yet again in this case. So every single member of the legal profession in this country should be proud of the way, the strength with which the administration of justice was shown, and we should especially be proud that we have a High Court that will open its doors to people such as our clients at 6 p.m. on a Sunday night, and we can all be confident that if the need arises, it would do so again. And I think that's a great testament to the way this country operates. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much for joining us today, and congratulations to all of our winners and all nominees. And I now have the pleasure of announcing the winner of the Mercedes-Benz Prize, the Drive for the weekend. Congratulations, John Sinesgully of Hunt & Hunt. You have won a Mercedes-Benz to drive for a whole weekend, courtesy of Mercedes-Benz Toorak. And I now ask the recipients of all President's Awards to join me for a group photo. And thank you very much to the rest of you who attended, and I hope the rest of your year is successful. Thank you.
You're wearing a guys in particular, if you're wearing a jacket, can you just do up one button, please? All right, so